Hi friends, today we're going to go all the way to the city of Monstropolis and see some scary monsters hard at work. But don't worry, they may seem scary, but they're actually really nice. So let's go make it our way to Monstropolis at Monster University and enjoy teaming up. When Mike Wazowski was a young monster, his class visited Monsters Inc., where the top scarers in Monstropolis worked. These monsters went through special doors into the human world to collect screams from human children. Thank you. Then the screams were changed into energy for the town. During the trip, Mike snuck through an open door and watched as a scarer made a child scream. That's when Mike decided he wanted to be a scarer when he grew up. Mike worked hard until he was accepted to Monsters University, and on the first day of college, Mike's bus pulled up in front of the gates of a beautiful old campus. Wow, Mike breathed. He checked out the clubs and something called the Scare Games, a contest in which students competed to see who was the scariest. Show me and Mike Wazowski your big scare face. Let's see it. Ah! Rah! That's my scare face. On the first day of class, Mike went to Scaring 101. Who can tell me the principles of an effective roar? Professor Knight asked. Mike started to answer, but just then, roar! Another monster surprised everyone. The monster who had roared was named James P. Sullivan. His friends called him Sulley, and scaring came easily to him, so he never studied. He was only interested in having fun and goofing off, and his grades showed it. Mike, on the other hand, studied every night. He read every book on scaring and practiced his scare techniques. He didn't want to fail his final exam. If he did, he'd be out of the scaring program. And on the day of the scaring final, Mike and Sulley began to argue. Then they got into roaring face-off. Everyone was watching, including the head of the School of Scaring, Dean Hardscrabble. Sulley accidentally knocked over a scream can. It held the record-breaking scream Dean Hardscrabble had collected in her scaring days. The canister hit the floor. Ah! Hardscrabble's scream was gone. I am so sorry, cried Mike. It was an accident. It was an accident, insisted Sulley. Dean Hardscrabble proceeded to give Mike and Sulley their final exams, and she was not impressed. She decided neither would be continuing in the scaring program. Sulley was speechless and stormed out of the room. Hardscrabble turned to Mike. Mr. Wazowski, what you lack is something that cannot be taught. You are not scary. Mike was crushed. The next semester, Mike and Sulley were put into the Scream Can design program. They were miserable until Mike remembered the scare games. Dean Hardscrabble made a deal with Mike. If you win, I'll let your entire team into the scaring program. But if you lose, you will leave Monster University. All he had to do was find a fraternity to join so he could compete. There was only one option, Uzma Kappa, a group of misfits who weren't exactly scary. The problem was Uzma Kappa needed one more member. The star player has just arrived, Sulley told Mike. Mike was not happy, but he had no choice. He and Sulley moved into Uzma Kappa's house and met Don, Art, Squishy, Terry, and Terry. There are two Terrys. In the opening event of the Scare Games, the first team to make it through a tunnel of stinging glow urchins would win. The last would be out. Mike and Sulley tied for second, but they'd left the rest of their team behind, so Uzma Kappa came in last. But luckily, another team was disqualified. Uzma Kappa was still in the games. Uzma Kappa made it through the next level do the next challenge too, but everyone except Mike and Sully wanted to quit. We're built for other things, Don explained. So Mike decided to take the gang on a field trip to Monsters, Inc. While there, Mike realized something. There's no one type of scarer. The best scarers use their differences to their advantage. Mike and Sully admitted they'd been acting really mean. We could be a great team, Mike said. We just need to start working together. The next morning, Mike and Sully felt inspired. They woke up bright and early and leaped out of bed. They trained the OKs and everything they would need to know for the next two events: how to scare kids and avoid teenagers. Oh, how to scare kids and avoid teenagers, how to hide, and even how to do scary feet drills to make sure everyone was in tip-top condition. Uzma Kappa was even more determined to win. They made it through the don't scare the teen and hide and sneak events. They were finally a team, and even better, they were friends. But that night, Sully ran into Dean Hardscrabble. Tomorrow, each of you must prove you're undeniably scary, she said, and I know for a fact that one of you is not. Sully knew she was talking about Mike. Mike was smart, talented, and the hardest working monster he'd ever met. But he was also small, friendly, and not exactly scary. Sully was worried. He really wanted his team to win. And the next day was the final Scare Games event. The big day arrived. There were just two fraternities left: Roar Omega Roar and Uzma Kappa. The monsters had to scare a robot child, and one by one, the members of both teams faced off. In the end, it came down to Mike. Roar! He got a perfect score. Uzma Kappa had won the Scare Games, but Mike soon discovered that Sully had cheated. He changed the setting to easy during Mike's turn. You don't think I'm scary? What was I supposed to do? Let the whole team fail? Sully replied. Mike wanted to prove he was scary. He snuck through a door into the human world and ended up in a camp cabin filled with dangerous children. But they didn't think he was scary either. And Sully snuck through the door to get his friend back. But Mike wanted Sully to leave. After what had happened, Mike didn't think he was special. I try to give people what they want, but all I do is let them down, Sully told Mike. You're not the only failure here. Mike was surprised. But just then, the Rangers arrived. Mike and Sully knew they needed to get back to the monster world, and to open the door, Sully had to scare the Rangers enough to power the door. When Mike and Sully made it back to Monsters University, they were kicked out of school. They hugged the OKs goodbye and left for their next big adventure together. In the mailroom at Monsters, Inc. The end. Whoa. So friends, even sometimes monsters aren't so scary. But what's even better is that people work together, right? Mike and Sully were able to help the Uzma Kappas to victory, and Mike and Sully, even though they had to leave school, they left together because they are friends and they found a job together, and now they're roommates and having a great time working together. Well, friends, that's all the time we have for right now, but you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.